Okay, we're gonna do a quick recording, guys. It is 5/29/2025. Nvidia had earnings today, or last night. They shot up today. They had good earnings. The market rallied because a judge blocked Trump from being King Trump for a day and said no more tariffs. Right. Well, this morning we were opening up. We were trying to figure out, hey, is the market gonna rally? Is it gonna puke? What's it gonna do? And we were trying to play a bounce on the spy. And right out the gate, it just seemed to me on I was watching Nvidia that we don't have the strength, we don't have the buying pressure today to kind of push. Um, so as we started to pull back, we were looking at like, all right, well, could this 1030 here be the head to an inverted head and shoulders? Could this be, you know, a double bottom? We're trying to figure out where the bottom's going to come in and where we could try to get a bounce and why. And one of the things that I said this morning is it seems like to me what they're trying to do here is they're trying to set it up for a pretty big drop, just kind of wash everybody else out, get all the chasers out, and then kind of figure out what we want to do. Now, the reason that I felt that way is because I've been that chaser. And I wasn't that chaser just once or twice or 10 or 20 times. Like the what makes you a good trader, literally, is losing money. And I lost money chasing trades like Nvidia, or the SPY today on the gap up, thinking, oh, we're going to all time. It's just I've done it wrong so many times that I learned, um, and sometimes I can't even quantify all of it, but I've learned to be able to recognize when we should take shots and really go for it, and when it's time to be a little bit more cautious. And today, with the huge gap up on it, it was just like, you know what? It's not the news pushing with Trump and the tariffs. That's not good. That like Trump's going to get around it, so that all that should be washed away. But the earnings for Nvidia are good, so that means that I think people are still going to be buying a dip. So to me, that when I think of life, everything is about balance. And when you were to take away the Trump tariffs, like the market rallied on that, and it shouldn't. You should have no gain whatsoever on that market rally, but you should have gain on the Nvidia side of it. Nvidia did well, right? And so it's like, all right, well, how much is priced in? How much are people going to have to chase? And we know the money managers are offside, so all of this goes into even a trade on a 1 minute chart of figuring out when and where we want to buy and how we want to attack the market. Now, these are the lines that I had drawn, and again, it always goes back to VPs of zones and what we're trying to do. So this morning when we gapped up, this level right here came in. And I was like, all right, well, maybe this can be a right. I mean, this can be a head, and we'll put in a right shoulder, and we can start to top out right here. And then when we break that, we should get a push, and it'll be great, right? So I wanted something like this to happen. Well, what happened? Well, we actually broke above it. Once you break above and make a new high on anything, what do? You always have to understand what's happening to the people involved in the chart. Anytime you make a new high, you have algorithms that automatically buy and play breakouts, and you have people that chase and buy and play breakouts. Like me, I play breakouts all the time, right? Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But you always get those people in. And so on this candle, we're starting to get a higher high being put in right here comparative to this. So if I were to scroll it back, this is what the chart looked like right here. So it's like, oh, okay, I'm hoping we reject right here and we pull back to this 588.75, get a little bit more strength, and then start to see some sustained buying to create a push, possibly to come all the way back up to highs today. Well, we kept going and we pushed up to 590.45 there. And I said, I'm not willing to buy this anymore if it pulls back down to here. to make the right shoulder. Now, why am I not willing to buy that? Well, you're asking more. You're asking for more buying pressure to be brought in to hold this now because why? Because you brought in more buyers up here that chase the breakout. They're going to be more sellers now as we pull back. So think of it this way, just with sheer numbers, you've got 137,000, 131,000, 130,000. So 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got 700,000 shares that need to be absorbed now that didn't beforehand. So now that's starting to get a little bit skewed if we start pulling back. Well, what I often tell you guys is if you have a failed breakout, it usually leads to a failed breakdown. Well, to avoid the failed breakout, what do you have to do? Well, you just have to hold. It doesn't mean like the market doesn't do something all the time, always. Like it's just never 100%. You're always creating if-then statements of what it could do and with the understanding that anything can happen. So what needs to happen if you want this to still go? Well, you need to start putting in higher lows and creating like a channel, right? Like you want to create this channel upward. If you start putting in failed breakouts, lower lows, that's when you're coming back down here to test these guys, and they're probably going to break at that point because you've got too many people above you. You've got too much selling pressure, and so you can see it's like, oh, okay, maybe we are going to hold, right? So at this point, you're like, oh, okay, you did put in a higher low in comparison. So could this be a head and shoulders? Absolutely. It's just a little scattlywomp or skiddly or what's the word the kids use today? Skibbity. It's a little skibbity, right? So it's like there's your neckline, kind of, right? It's like, yeah, so shoulder, head. Okay, sure. It could still possibly be that, but it's just not as clean. And again, what does it need to do? It just needs to hold. What's going to happen if we start testing that green arrow area, right? Like if this low starts breaking, we got to be careful. So literally at this point, what you're saying to yourself is this next pullback, whenever it comes, I'm always talking about like the little U. So it's like you get 1, 2, and then 3. That third one's the little U. So you just, again, your perfect chart pattern. I'm going to draw it up here, right? Whoops. So, it does this, and then you get that little bitty U that creates, and that's your perfect little ascending triangle, right? That's the ideal situation. This one's not that clean, but the fundamentals don't change about what we're looking for. This level breaks. Everybody up here is trapped. Everybody that bought here is trapped. Everybody's going to be stopping out, and then you're expecting these little guys to catch you. It's just not going to happen, right? If it would have pulled back immediately from here, from this point, like, oh yeah, we can catch that. The weight's too heavy now. So if this breaks, look out. You're probably going to hit this level, bounce up, and then wash over. So what we're looking for here is double bottom with either a slightly higher right shoulder or slightly lower right shoulder. You don't want this thing breaking, because if it does, it's like, so you can see it's like, what is that? It looks like it was barely a little bit lower. See how that did that? So it's just barely a little bit lower, which is fine, right? It's like, okay, all right, maybe we're going to hold. But what does this tell you right here? Literally. Can anybody answer that? The fact that we came back and hit this same level right here as we did here, what is that telling you? This is the language of charting. What does this tell you? Okay. So what this means is the lower we had to put in a double bottom. That means people were not willing to pay up for it to create the perfect pattern, right? And so now as we're watching it minute by minute, it's like, all right, we just, again, we need to hold and we need to break out. Once we break that new high, we need to push up and away. Is everything happening like it needs to happen? Yes. Okay, great. It looks good. For me, at this point, I would want this to push a little bit higher. I understand you hit these guys. The goal here is this. What you're trying to do with the zone here, let me actually take it away. The zone here and the zone here, what you're trying to do now is you're saying, all right, we need to get everybody that was trapped up here out. And to do that, we need to get to where? Well, we need to get to the high side of this zone, which would be value area high, which when we put that in here, it's going to equal about that 591.58. The fact that we didn't get there means there's a lot of people that are still stuck here, and or there's people that are selling within this range that's not allowing us to get up there. The selling pressure is too much. So it's like, all right, well, freak. If that's going to be happening, what zone is winning? Well, obviously this zone is still winning because you can't push up and through it. I'm not allowed to buy. So D asked me, hey, can you buy it when it comes back to the point of control? It depends. It depends on what happened above it. So if this would have pushed up to this 592-ish area, buying back at the point of control, absolutely. But if it didn't, no. And in fact, I would be very wary about it holding this point of control. You'll probably get, again, I don't know exactly what happens after this, but usually what happens is you'll get a bounce off this level that allows you to create like this head and shoulders type pattern. So this is what I would be looking for here if we don't extend. And so it's like, all right, oh crap, we came back in, just hold, right? Again, do you see the difference between like just the vernacular that I'm using like all day today? It's like just hold, just hold, just hold. Instead of all right, let's go. We're doing it. Okay, retest. But no, just hold. Again, just hold, just hold. Oh crap. Just come on, hold, hold. All right. This is where you normally get a bounce right here. Why? Because you've got to come back in and put in a lower high comparative to this. That's going to start a head and shoulders on this pattern. That's going to come down here and test these original people that were supposed to hold us up, that are going to be impossible to hold us up now, right? Because we've got so many above us. So if it comes down and it starts breaking here, guys, like watch out. Like it's like, okay, last ditch effort, hold. Oh, there it is. Right? There's your last ditch effort, and you're just begging it. How many of you guys have been stuck in a trade and been like, oh man, come on, please, just work. And you're praying that it works, and it gives you this hope. Oh, maybe it can go, maybe it can go, maybe it can go, right? This happened to me 1,000 times, and that's why I'm unable to see these things. I'm like, all right, this looks like they want to wash it now, right? Now let's wash everybody out. Like, there's no hope. Like for me at this point, what I would literally be saying is, I'm not touching this, or I'm not longing this. I'd short it. I'm not longing this until we get back above this level and we can clear these guys out. Everybody below me is happy. Because if you're in this trade, what are you doing all day? All you've been doing is praying that the thing holds. Oh, let me add to it again. Oh, so I'm buying every dip and I'm selling every rip, but I'm taking out like 50 cents, but the dip's taking me down $2. So yeah, I bought here, I made 50 cents here, but I'm still down $1. I bought here, I made 50 cents here. Okay, now it comes back down to here. I'm still down $1. It's like the bulls are not in control. And so what eventually happens is you literally have to like just start over. So anybody and everybody that's been day trading this, that's been trying to buy in this upper area, they're done. So how many of you guys have been like, just hold, just hold, just hold, please? And like you've been buying and selling, and then all of a sudden it hits your area, and you're like, I'm out, I'm done. Get me out of this thing. I don't want to deal with it anymore. But in reality, what is happening is that's when you should be buying. And this is what I was waiting on all day today. I had to leave. I had to take my daughter to the eye doctor. But guys, I mean, this was it. This was the play. And then when it does this, all you people that are hurry Johnny come latelys, you're out. You're done. What does that give people like me the opportunity to do, okay, let me start my quote unquote chase, because I'm still chasing buying today. We've been buying the last few days, but let me start my chase today at 586 versus 590. Right? These are the little nuances that allow you to say, you know what? I can still chase, I can still buy, but I have to time things correctly. I have to risk things correctly. And even if you wanted to buy up here and risking it correctly, that's fine. You just have to know how to do it and when to give up. Now that it's come down here and hit this level, okay, well, where are we now? Well, of course you're going to come back up. Well, not of course, but odds are you're going to come back up here and hit these people that we've been playing against. So now what do we have? Well, now you've got this zone fighting against who? Well, you got to come back here and look at the previous zones level, which is where you get your VP from. So you can see this 586.12 level. This is where the SPY, I don't know if you can see it, but do you see this break? This is where the SPY went, and call it whatever you want, call it whatever pattern you want, but you've got this little curl, pop. The way that I look at it is this 586.12 literally is the neckline for these days. Does that make sense? So like the 22nd, the 23rd here, it's like, all right, now you're coming down into what zone? Well, you're coming down into this guy's zone now. So I'm going to buy off a value area high of this guy's zone. And this is technically your technical analysis breakout as well. Okay, well, what happens if we reject here, currently where we are, right? So what have we done? We simply bounced from this zone back into this zone. That's it. We haven't done anything. What do we have to do to say, you know what, I'm willing to buy back into this zone? Well, to me, I've got to go above. I got to go above the point of control. I got to go above everybody and say, hey, let's get to that value area high. Well, what would that look like? That would look like coming into this area. Once we come into 591.58 in this box, that's when I'll believe that we've got enough strength and enough people underneath us to hold us. Now, why is that? Can anybody tell me why? Like, to me, it's very simple, but I don't know if it's simple to you guys. Like, what is so significant about this box? Like, why did I pick right here? Man, these videos times go flat fast. So the reason I picked this box is because it's your value area high of this zone where everybody that is going to stop out would have already stopped out, right? Like there's a guy sitting at 590.45 that said, you know what, as soon as it hits this level, I'm done, I'm out. And he sold. Well, did we have enough buying pressure that brought us up here? Not yet. So there's still people that are willing to stop out in here. Not everybody got filled at 590.45. There's some more people that want to get out right there. So if it hits that level again, they're going to be sellers. Well, what if it hits 590.80? Nobody's been able to stop out of that. What about 590.110? Nobody's been able to stop out of that either. Like, we got to get all these people out. I want everybody out. And then once everybody's out and price does this, and I'm like, anybody and everybody that wanted out is out. That means the next pullback, we're not going to have sellers. We're not going to have a lot of sellers, right? The only sellers we're going to have are what? The people that are in this line right here. That's it. That's the only people that we really have to pay attention to because everybody else has been satisfied. That's why the latest volume profile controls the majority of the price action. So now let's go through and make a plan, make a play, talk about what should be happening, what will be happening going forward. So we're hugging all-time highs, right? We're trying to get up here at the all-time highs. 615, like we're within striking distance of the all-time highs, and I think we have a chance of getting there. 600 is that next level that I told you guys about. It's like, all right, I think we can push up into 600. Okay, so let me take away these lines. In order to do that, what do we need to do? Well, we have to take out anybody that's above us here and anybody that's above us here. Does that make sense? Like, obviously, these are your only spots. So, with that being said, you simply come in and you create the VP levels off of those zones. And this is the VP levels that I have for it, right? And then you bring them back here. It's like, okay, well, shoot. The major over under levels are what? According to my chart. Well, it's 592.83 to 593.74. This is your big pivot point over under. Let's go. If we can start getting above that, we're going to start coming into this next zone here. And we'll have to break this down and figure out where all those levels are. We're not there yet, so I'm not doing it yet. But that's it. So what I've done is say, all right, okay, that's the levels. Well, do we need to pull back to 565 and fill this gap before we go up there? Can anybody answer that? No, of course not. Nobody knows. I don't know. Heck, maybe we need to pull back at 550. I have no idea. But for me, for right here and for right now, I'm willing to buy pullbacks because we've got good news, we've got good earnings. I'm willing to buy pullbacks into these zones and then try to play zones within the zone. I'm not willing to buy this zone up here for a long until we get into that box that I showed you, which is pressing it up here. If this comes back down and does something like this, I would be willing to buy this next zone at 585. If it does something like this and pulls back to right here, this is where you have the opportunity and the chance. This is when I would say you got probably a 50-50 shot of this holding. So if you wanted to take a shot at it, great, go for it. But it's your first hit, right? Second hit, if it did something like this, well, what are we doing? We're just simply putting in a descending triangle that should ultimately break down and come to the next zone. The pattern is telling you it's weak and it needs to come further down to get out all the sellers and or find new buyers willing to pay that price, willing to pay that high of a price. If it does something like this and comes down to right here and does something like that and comes up to right there, it's like, oh, shoot, it didn't come down to a double bottom here. It actually put in a little inverted head and shoulders. People are starting to pay up for price. And we're starting to break out and get everybody that's stopping out here. Oh, well, shoot. I want to be a buyer right there at that point. If it does this, I'm not a buyer. You understand the difference? So does everybody understand, like, literally when I walk in the room, very rarely do I care what the market does. Like, I just don't care. The market's going to tell me what it's going to do, and I'm going to take the shots at it. Now, there are days where you're just trending down and you go down 2 percentage points, and every bounce play you try to get, and vice versa. If it's trending up, you go up 2%. Every short, it just doesn't work, and that's fine. Those days are rare, and those days set up for bigger, longer term plays. But very rarely do I care what the market does. Now, what did I say? I hope we do up and through lunch on Nvidia. I said, man, I hope we just go sideways. I hope nothing really happens. And the reason being is because what needs to be happening right here and right now to allow for a continuation is we need to have new buyers. So think about all the money managers that are missing out on this, that basically they're going to get fired because the SPY is beating them, right? The money managers always weigh themselves against what the SPY is doing. So they're going to get fired. And so now they're trying to figure out, how do I get back in this thing? And blah, blah, blah. They want to be a buyer. How low is it going to go? Is it going to go to 565? I don't know. But I think if I was the money manager, I would be buying up here if I was missing it. So maybe we just push to 600 and we don't need to go down. Maybe we don't need to push back and close that gap to 565. Caveat: if we do, I'm good. Let's stay safe, and I'm going to be buying a chunk buttload, right? Big truckload of it down there. As of now, prove to me that you can get above these people and or come back into these people. This is where you hear me say it's no man's zone. It's no man's zone for me right here, right now, because the only thing that I would be doing against this is shorting. This is your chunk of people. You cannot hold, you cannot break above until you prove me wrong. I'm not playing your game. If you come down here into these people, yeah, I'll play that game because this is old support. And then ultimately, if it does come back down here, you're going to do the exact same thing that we did here. Here, you're going to develop some types of patterns, some types of failed breakdowns. Ultimately, the easiest play would probably be a break into the gap. Have they already done that? Yeah, so they've already done it once. Doing it twice, yeah, I'd be less likely to be a buyer. Any questions on this, guys? This is a 30-minute video. I thought it'd be like 5 minutes, but I think this is the language of charting. Like, this is everything. Like, it's literally everything when it comes to technical analysis trading. And then when you can combine this with your skills of knowing what companies are good, right? Like, it's like Thor's hammer. It's unfair. All right, I'm gonna cut it then. And okay, for the recording, here's the question. So somebody's asking a question, and then they said, "Hey, the first one held. So how do you know? How do you know which one's going to hold and which one's going to break, and how can you tell what's what?" And the simple answer is you never know, right? All you're doing is you're playing odds and percentages. And so on this first picture, it held. Can't see that time. It's too small. Here, let me look at it on my chart. So, whoops, reset. It's too big now. Go back. There we go. That first square box, Efren, what time is that? The first one. Is that the 11? Yeah. Yeah, so this 11 o'clock one. So here's what let's take away all the lines. Okay, now let me pull up your charts again. So the way that I do this, the way that I picture things, do you see the little consolidation period before your box? Yes, the first one. Yeah, yep, from 11:03 to 11:13. What is happening in that box? That 11:03 to 11:13. What's happening right here from the technical analysis charting perspective? Auction theory, all of it. Wait. If we look at it how? What was that word again? Forgive him, guys. He's Hispanic from Spain, living in Canada. Yes, microscopically. Yes, yeah. If you take a myopic view of it, there you go. Okay. I lost train of thought because I'm still laughing in my head about microscope. Okay. So what is happening here, my friend, is you're simply retesting this this group of people, right? So you've broken out and now you're getting your retest. So according to technical analysis, what's supposed to happen? Well, here's your highs, right? A pure technical analysis play means you're going to break out, you're going to come back in here, and you're going to bounce off the top of this square, which is the breakout zone. We, because we're so much smarter than everyone else, understand that it's not always your technical analysis breakout that holds. It's the people within that range that hold you, which is here. So what has this done? This first one done? Well, it's come down to the point of control of this little area, right? So do you remember when I said to you, I'm not going to long this until it gets to value area high and then pulls back. Then I would long it, right? Well, what just happened here versus here? What happened on the second box here? That's right. You're literally going to that volume area low and you're saying, I'm fully back into this zone. So what does that mean? Well, the fact that you're fully back into this zone means that this zone has now been tested more than once. Right? Like we tried it, we went up, okay, we held, oh, okay, we held. All right, we held. The next time it hits, it's probably going to break. It's the same thing on the long side as it is on the short side. So it's like, all right, well, if we go up to value area high and we give ourselves a little pullback, and then we could buy it a little bit lower back into maybe the bottom side of that zone, which is the same thing as shorting it. So like at this point, if you're a short seller, you're literally, and this is why you're always shorting against higher highs. You're literally shorting it in this range, saying, I don't think we can get higher than this. And that's what happens. Does that answer your question? I don't know if that answers it enough, but it's always about the who are you playing against? How many times have you hit against them? Are they going to be able to hold the weight above? So if you were to look at this, like even if you switch to like a 5-minute chart, so like we're looking at this on a 5-minute range, it's like, okay, well, shoot, this looks great. Looks like it could break out. Oh, shoot. Okay. Just looking at this on a 5-minute chart, this doesn't look so bad. Maybe it can hold. Well, of course. They want you to hold, right? These are the people we were playing against. But what, like, this is your quote unquote first time of hitting this level. But where is the momentum? Where are all the people driving the price action? They're above you. There's a big freaking stone rolling down a hill, big boulder coming right at your face. Do you want to try to catch it? Hell no. Let it run over some people, get into the gully, and once it kind of starts getting to that next level where the ground is flat and I don't have to push against it, that's when I want to start pushing. Well, where is that? Huh? It's right there. There's your flat line. That boulder's not going to run you over there. Most likely, right? So the reason that it broke is because it got hit multiple times. When we go back to this 1 minute, it gets, let me pull up your chart. It gets hit multiple times. So if you put those two charts right next to each other, why is this one so much smaller? Give me one sec. I'm going to reopen these and see if I can get them on a recording side by side. let's see. Whoops. I had it perfect. Reset. Come on. Open episode. All right. I think I need to scoot over right there. Okay, I think both are in for the recording. So now for simplistic terms here, I'm going to use the EpiPen. I know you guys can't see what I'm drawing because you just have my thing up, but for the recording, when you watch back the recording, it'll make sense. Over here, yeah. So over here, right? Why didn't this break right here? I mean, it could have, but this was your group of people that you're playing, and you're just hitting that value area low, right? That's your first hit to get through all of it. So you tried it at the point of control with this box, couldn't do it. You got to go all the way back into this zone. So if you have to come back into this zone again, what's going to happen? Most likely you're going to break. And that's what happened here. So flag, hit, hit. Think of it upside down as well. That might help. Right there, value area low. Okay, well, shoot. If it comes back, remember, if it came all the way to that square up for me, and if it pushed all the way up, I'd love to buy it if it came all the way back down, right? Well, that's exactly what short sellers are doing right here. Well, why? You're just continually putting in lower highs. It's like, oh, okay, short that thing. Why? This is the ledge that Nate Berry always uses right here. There's your ledge. That's the ledge. It's set up. You've got a bunch of people that are sitting there, and they're all holding this boulder, and they're using this one little step at the bottom where, like, if somebody comes along and just kicks that step, they're all going down, and they're going down quickly, right? And that's what happens. Bam. Okay. Now the video is 40 minutes long.